Okay, thank you. Yeah. So it's Colin here. I've been on YouTube and that before. Now we're just looking at basically on how to make New Zealand the greatest nation this world has ever known, and then passing it on to the world. Now, I have put some on I've been on Instagram, and I have put on videos on YouTube before. Now, I've covered a few aspects on YouTube, but I want to have a look at a few interesting points here that how we can make New Zealand great. Now, one thing that's necessary in New Zealand is to get rid of this virus from New Zealand. What should I say? By orthomolecular medicine, actually, from orthomolecular medicine physicians from the United States. What they did was about some years ago, they had a patient that had a virus. So what they did is they injected very high dosages of vitamin C right into the bloodstream of the child. Of the person. I don't think it was a child. And 1 hour later, they checked on the virus to see how it was going. And they found that there's quite a bit of destruction of virus in just 1 hour. But vitamin C in itself is destroyed by the body in its efforts to destroy the virus. So therefore, about 2 hours later, it's important to to replenish another injection of vitamin C in a very high dosage, because it's destroyed in itself, the vitamin C in trying to destroy the virus. And so I would assume that that the virus, COVID-19, would be destroyed somewhere between about 5 hours to about 15 hours. At least in the 1 day, it would be destroyed. Now, what I was thinking was this. So I've been in touch with Grant Robinson, the Honourable Grant Robinson from New Zealand here, about this virus. But he was quite interested, and so he said for me to see Chris Hipkins. He's got the portfolio in New Zealand here for the virus of the COVID-19, and presently it will be about 17th of April 21 now. Presently they're getting these vaccines done to the people. So I wrote to Chris Hipkins a letter requesting to make an appointment about this virus, but I've never had a reply to my email at all, and I don't think even Sheila has got a reply from the office where I go, the Labour Party office, and so we are a bit stuck. We're somewhat stuck at the moment because we can't get we can't get any further help. I can't get any further help because I can't get help from Chris Hipkins, and I've got to be somebody to be on to get anything done in New Zealand or anywhere. You've got to be somebody. Like for example, you take the Duke of Edinburgh at the moment. Of course, as you know, he's passed away. Excuse me. But the only reason that he's somebody they talk about, and his death, and they got a 21 gun salute or so for him and such like, only because they know him, you see, but if he had been the same person, just your next door neighbour, and he was saying the same things, and then he died in the usual way, there's the ordinary people that die in hospitals and everywhere, there's no fanfare about it. They're just an ordinary person that died, and you never know anything about it hardly, and just that he's in the obituary column, and their friends and relatives, of course, know, but that's all just ordinary people. The same would have happened with Duke of Edinburgh, or with Winston Churchill, or anybody in New Zealand, or anybody in the world, really. If you're just an ordinary person, you get nothing, but the same person and becomes somebody, then it's different. So therefore, I've either got to be somebody to get listening to, or I've got to get hold of somebody that does. So presently, then I'm stuck in the mud at the moment, trying to get this virus wiped out by orthomolecular medicine from physicians from the United States. But it seems to me that what's happening is at the moment is that they've actually rejected orthomolecular medicine, even in the United States, in favour of orthodox conventional medicine. Now both need to be worked together. We can't say to one, I have no need of thee. We've got to work together. We both can be very helpful. Orthodox medicine, conventional medicine can do a lot. For example, I had a heart attack, and they got down somehow with, they got down somehow with from the top or some place down, they thread something down into the coronary arteries. They call them coronary arteries because they're shaped like a crown. And so they got in there and they cleaned out the coronary arteries while I was still awake. Didn't even put me out. And they also put 2 sensors in. So both of those were remarkable inventions to me. I mean, how can they put 2 sensors in when there's blood flowing there? It's a bit like changing the wheel of a car while the car's still moving. That actually did happen, and That's Incredible. I used to watch a bit of That's Incredible, and they actually did that. They changed the wheel while the car was still moving. I think they had 2 cars going together. I'm not sure how it worked actually now, but normally you'd wonder how they could do such a thing as that. So once I got that done, I could breathe, whereas I couldn't breathe very well. And yet I didn't even have a serious heart attack. My doctor said to me later on when I was to be discharged, he said to me, you did not have you did not have a very serious heart attack. In fact, you didn't have a serious one, but it was significant. So we both need to work with each other. That's the idea. Orthomolecular conventional medicine with orthomolecular, conventional medicine, orthodox conventional medicine as against orthomolecular medicine. So seeing that we've had this virus destroyed by orthomolecular medicine, we've had viruses destroyed by orthomolecular medicine. This is just another virus that'll be destroyed. It destroys all viruses and infections, regardless of what they are. So COVID-19 is just another one. It destroys syphilis, gonorrhea, all viruses and infections are destroyed by very high dosages of vitamin C, preferably injected straight into the bloodstream of a person. Now, straight into the bloodstream of the person. I'll give you something else about orthomolecular medicine too that I have put on, maybe on my YouTube ones, that there was a orthomolecular medicine physician from the United States, he was confronted with this dead baby. I don't know how he got there with a dead baby, but maybe he was the one to announce the official death of the baby. They got him to announce the little baby's death. She's only about 18 months old. Her mother was there, and her mother, what shall I say? Her mother was convinced that her baby was dead. But the ophthalmology medicine physician from the United States, he put a little mirror to the mouth of the dead child, and he saw a little haze is probably wanting, because something I failed to mention was this, is that the baby had no heartbeat, no pulse, cold, blue, dead. Well, you'd think that definitely the doctor would announce the child dead, having no heartbeat, no pulse, cold, blue, dead. But anyway, when the orthomolecular medicine physician from the United States saw the saw that little haze on the mirror, that's all he was probably hoping to see. So what he did was he did a tremendous thing. He injected straight into the bloodstream, I think, of this dead child, 6,000 milligrams of vitamin C. Now that's an enormous amount, even for an adult. That's a huge amount, let alone a little 18 months old baby. Well, anyway, 4 hours later, the baby was alert and well, but it still had paralysis of a leg. So the orthomolecular medicine physician from the United States injected another probably 6,000. Adele Davis didn't say this. I get this information a lot from 2 books by Adele Davis, being Let's Get Well and Let's Eat Right to Keep Fit. They're still available, actually. You can get them. She died, Adele Davis, but you can still get her books. And if you just online money, and then they'll push back with buttons, and they'll send you the book, either Let's Get or both. Those fantastic books. They're full of orthomolecular medicine, and 2 of the greatest books ever produced, I would say. Tremendous. So get hold of those books if you can. Let's Get Well by Adele Davis, or Let's Eat Right to Keep Fit, or both of those books. Are tremendous books, and so they're worthwhile picking up. Just send the money, as I say, online. Just look up Facebook. So I look up a smartphone and request for Adele Davis, author Let's Get Well and Let's Eat Right to Keep Fit. And if you want to buy them, just let them know. Just put your money online. So that's where I get the information. So anyway, what happened with the baby then is that the leg healed up from paralysis, and one of those physicians, or both, one of them said that if ever there be a wonder drug, it's vitamin C. It's got to be in very high dosages. For example, for example, in Dunedin at the moment, where we're about mid-April 21, they're working on vitamin C in relation to this COVID-19. But I can see by the article that they're just playing games. You've got to have very high dosages, not just low dosages. It's got to be very high dosages. In fact, one orthomolecular medicine physician from the United States, or 2 of them, were complaining bitterly that, I believe it was bitterly, that the initial dosages are not high enough for blood at all. You've got to have very high dosages. So in Dunedin at the moment, they're just playing games. I don't know about in Italy. They're working on vitamin C in Italy in relation to COVID-19, but I would assume that they're just playing games too, because we've never heard anything from Italy about it. Otherwise, they'd probably hear something about it, that this virus is being destroyed in Italy by orthomolecular medicine, physicians from the United States. So I would assume that, that they would have done something about it by now. It would have been in the papers that they've been destroyed the virus. See, apparently in the United States, as I say, they've rejected orthomolecular medicine in favour of the orthodox conventional medicine. So that's why I don't hear anything in the paper about orthomolecular medicine in the United States in relation to this COVID-19, because they've just rejected it. The people that used to have it are all dead now, and there might be a little bit going on quietly that nobody knows about it, just with the odd doctor or something that's never got into the news. But all the news I've heard in the United States about this COVID-19, never once have I heard anything about orthomolecular medicine. It's a very one to heal it up. But as I say, with Chris Hipkins, I've mentioned that to Chris Hipkins here in New Zealand about the this one about the, I think they destroyed most of the virus, well, not most of the virus. 1 hour later, quite a bit of virus has already been destroyed. Excuse me. I need more vitamin C myself, actually. Got a bit of a chill. I do busking to support at work in Africa, and it's standing in the one position. You're standing in a draft, as you know. So anyway, so in Italy they're probably not doing any good either. So I'm trying to get this going in New Zealand, but as I say, it's an uphill struggle. And so that's what we have to do in New Zealand and around the world. So I'm stuck in the mud a bit at the moment, and I can't see Grant Robinson. He's the Minister of Finance for New Zealand. If you don't know, if you're from overseas or what, listening here. What should I say? So Grant Robinson at the moment is tied up with the budget. He's not seeing anybody at the moment at all. Whereas normally he puts in his literature, he put to the public, he says, if you've got a problem sort of thing, come and see me. But he's not now doing that because he's working, as I say, on the budget. Now, and it'll also be 6 weeks after the budget, we won't be able to see him either. So I'm trying now to sort of sort something out how I can get hold of somebody and get and see Chris and knock this virus out. And then when New Zealand gets this virus knocked out, then it can take it to the world. Because New Zealand cannot become the greatest nation in the world and pass it on to the world when they're a sick nation themselves. Whatever sickness they've got, they can't heal others until they heal themselves. And so once New Zealand wipes out the virus, then we can say this is the finish of the virus in New Zealand. And if anybody coming in it does slip through the net, well then they just need to take very high dosages of vitamin C. They can do it orally. It's better by injection, and we can knock it out still in about maybe 1 day, even orally. And then, you see, we can take it to the world. New Zealand saves first, then saves the world, and in other respects as well. So it's very good, very large doses of vitamin C. So I had a virus about 3-4 months ago. I got this tremendous virus about early 21 or late 20. I got this massive virus, and I was coughing like buggery all the time, and it nearly killed me, I think. And so I began to take vitamin C, but I didn't take it in very high dosages enough because what should I say? Because I didn't take it in very high dosages enough. So I kept on, and then I increased the dosages, and I got to about 6,000 and 6,000 milligrams, and and I thought it knocked it out actually. Excuse me. I thought I'd knocked the bastard out actually, but in actual fact, it didn't actually. It was still there, and at one stage there, I thought, oh, it's going now, or something, and then I dropped off, and when I woke up, as if anything worse, it came back with a vengeance. So then I bumped up the vitamin C to about 9,000 milligrams or so. Orally, I was taking it. I can't remember. I took it orally. Yeah, I think it was about 9. Oh, so I don't remember how often I took them. I took the vitamin C. I don't know how often it was. Yeah, I don't know how often it was. What should I say? Yes, I don't know how often it was, but when I got bumping up about the 9,000, then it wiped the bastard out. Virtually, just a little bit was there still, but a little bit of coughing, just a baby bit. I didn't even worry about it, and even that went on its own accord as well. So you got to take very high dosages to sort of knock these viruses out. So say when it comes to AIDS and mad cow disease and flesh-eating disease, you really have to take probably very high dosages, maybe say 24,000 milligrams at one go, so you could chew the 1,000 milligram tablets to say, what shall I say, 1,000 milligram tablets, what shall I say, I said to do it orally. With AIDS, better by injection straight into the bloodstream, and then you can knock these ones out, but you might have to take very high dosages for the AIDS and flesh-eating diseases are very high ones. So I don't know how many you could take. You could start off with very high dosages, and then but you've got to keep them going, because remember that vitamin C in itself is destroyed in itself in the body's efforts to destroy the virus. So that's why you've got to keep going up with high dosages of vitamin C, and so that'll knock the virus out. So that's one thing that I'm looking at for New Zealand. See, it seems that I've been called to help to make New Zealand great somehow, or New Zealand to lead the world. But as I say, if we're a sick country, we can't help other countries. So we're just working at the moment on this COVID-19 at the moment. I'm just on this subject at the moment. So, so that's what I'm working on at the moment. So for New Zealand, and so we can heal up the world. There's quite a little bit to do. Now, put it this way, we need really stadiums, like, for example, New Zealand supposed to have been bombed in the Second World War by the Japanese. I believe they had 4 aircraft carriers out there. They were bombing around New Zealand, and New Zealand was scheduled to be bombed, but not one bomb dropped on New Zealand, because what happened in New Zealand here was that they took the old town hall that's still up. Actually, they're strengthening at the moment, and they took an all night. They filled it up with prayer people, praying that that the Japanese wouldn't come to New Zealand, and it was probably a New Zealand-wide effort because after they prayed about it, what happened was that nothing happened. New Zealand was scheduled to be bombed. I believe bad weather initially stopped them, but when you make plans in wartime and bad weather comes, you just wait for the bad weather to stop. But when it stopped, the Japanese still didn't bomb New Zealand, because basically of divine intervention. So this is what we need to do around the world. We need to take stadiums to knock these things out, Like if we took worldwide stadiums, then you'll find that the world problems could be solved. You don't need military. For example, take Hong Kong, for example. The Chinese are hassling Hong Kong and that, and now if we took stadiums throughout the world and we prayed, then you'll find that that the Chinese would just leave Hong Kong alone and just walk away from Hong Kong. And people in the world might wonder, well, what's happening? Why did they just suddenly walk away from Hong Kong? But when we take these stadiums, there's two or three things we need to do. One is that we need to be specific in what we pray for. And I mentioned about Yonggi Cho from Seoul. He had the biggest church in the world, actually, about 600,000. And one time, the president of South Korea. We're looking at something be specific. Hang on, we won't go into this at the moment. We'll go back now to a chair, desk, and bicycle. That's right. When his early work in Seoul, before he got this biggest church in the world, he was running a chair, desk, and bicycle. So they didn't come. And one day he came home. He was probably cold, tired, and hungry. He didn't even have a bed in his little flat. And so he had it out with God this day. He said, look, he says, I've asked you for a chair, desk, and bicycle. Where are these chairs? How can I do your work without these things? So anyway, he felt God was going to speak to him. And later on, or whenever, God spoke and says, look, you sick cunt, fuck me dead. Don't you know there's dozens of different kind of chairs, desks and bicycles are bloody around, you sick cunt? You didn't ask me what kind of chair, desk and bicycle you wanted. Fuck me dead, you sick cunt. And so Yonggi Cho, he took that rebuke by God seriously, and so he began to figure that the US bikes were stronger than the Korean ones. So so what he did was he decided to get a US bike, and then he wanted a chair. He wanted a rolling chair in the room that rolls around like a steel wheels, and you stay on the chair. So he wanted that, and he wanted something for a desk. So anyway, after he prayed and that, he got a new bike come from him from the United States. It was just slightly used, slightly used, and what shall I say? Yeah, it was just slightly used, so it was a new bike. And then he got something from the Mitsubishi company. It was probably a desk. And then he got the rolling chair he wanted around from the Mitsubishi company, and the other one was from Mahogany. I'm not sure where the Mahogany desk came from, but he got what he wanted. And Suzette Hatching, she had the same experience too. She was an intercessor, and she came to New Zealand, and she said how she was asking for these shoes. And I think it was about 6 months later, and she had no shoes. And so she had it out with God about these shoes. She said, my shoes, where are my shoes? Well, either then or later on, God spoke to her and said, look, you sick bitch, fuck me dead. Don't you know there's dozens of different kinds of women's shoes are bloody about, you sick bitch? You didn't ask me what kind of shoes you wanted, sick bitch. Fuck me dead. And so she got specific and no doubt got her shoes that she wanted. So it's very important to be specific. So if we take stadiums around the world, and then we take Hong Kong, say, as one, then we've got to be specific what we want to be done about Hong Kong. So we ask, well, we want the Chinese to take their hands off Hong Kong. Okay, that's fair enough then, take their hands off Hong Kong. And anything else be specific. And the same with Afghanistan, with the Taliban. Again, we could be specific on what we want the Taliban to do, just completely leave Afghanistan alone and all this, and be specific. And then you'll find that the Taliban will change. They might even be wanting the Holy Spirit to come into their life and things like this. And for a start, you might think, oh, they're just crocodile tears. They're just trying to make out they're okay. And then once the United States move out with their troops, they'll just move and take over with this full Muslim bloody thing, and there's probably Sharia law, I think, where you cut off hands or something. If you steal, I think you cut off hand or something like this. Very, very terrible, this Sharia law. And that's what they're wanting to do with Afghanistan. But they can be stopped by worldwide prayer. Now, I can mention a couple of other things what I was going to say about Yonggi Cho. The president of South Korea, at one stage there, he was he was trembling at the knees, either literally or mentally, and he didn't think that his troops could stop the infiltration coming from the north. So anyway, he summoned for Yonggi Cho, knowing he had this big church in the world or whatever. So Yonggi Cho said to the president that he'll get 1 million praying people. So they didn't get 1 million. I think they might get about 600,000 from memory from his books. Any books by Yonggi Cho is worthwhile getting. You could look up the your smartphone, and find out about Yonggi Cho from Seoul, about his books, and they're great reading, his books. I don't know if he's alive yet, still Yonggi Cho. But anyway, so Yonggi Cho said he'd get 1 million. I think he got about 600,000 people, and they prayed around the places where, well, I've forgotten exactly, but there's certainly an improvement, if not stopped altogether, after that massive amount of people. And the next one with that came the Olympic Games in Seoul. For some reason, there was expected to be trouble in the Olympic Games in Seoul. For some reason, I don't know why people want to attack an Olympic Games, but there was certainly expected trouble. I can't remember what kind of trouble they were expecting. So this time, Yonggi Cho got less people. He got about 400,000 or something, and they walked and they paced up and down the places where they were going to run, or something like that. I've forgotten exactly from the books, but something like that they did. And anyway, the expected problem at the Olympic Games in Seoul didn't occur. So looking at stadium praying and that, and this is what gets the job done. Like in New Zealand, you see, New Zealand was to be bombed by the Japanese. Well, anyway, I'll cut this video now at the moment, and I'll put on other videos. I want to get some little ones on Instagram today if I can, because the friend that's helping me is only available today. He's not available again until Wednesday. So I don't know how to use his smartphones, and I've been trying, but I gave up the ghost because it went black and blood again, and I just rely on him to help me at the moment. So I'll sign off again. This is Colin signing off again. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll put on some more later on. So thank you for listening. I'll put some more on. I want to get some little ones, baby ones, onto Instagram today if I can. So thank you for watching, and we'll keep in touch. So bye for now.